So welcome to Get YouTube Done Now. This is the Workspace session, and I am MAJESTY-ALL-MIGHTY. I am the founder and creator of the WowTube Preneur Factor Evolution, and I am joined by my star queen celebritypreneur protege, Gina Gardiner, and I'm excited because we are going to be exploring for her today about creating her Get YouTube Done Now VIP intensive weekend or week. We'll see how that goes, but this is going to be an exciting session, especially for those of you who are trying to build your YouTube channels, primarily for those who have channels that are small, under 500 subscribers, and want to help you start to be able to leverage your small channel in a way by setting it up to achieve your maximum success so that you're able to monetize it and do so much more with this. So Gina, thank you so much. I'm excited about what we're going to explore today.
So am I. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yes, me too. And so you've had the opportunity to actually go through the articles that I provide as sort of the setup for creating your own intensive. And so we're going to talk about that, today. I'm actually going to have you to read the article. But I just want to give a little preface, to this experience because, it's important to be really leveraging YouTube right now. It's, the biggest platform, of course, because it's owned by Google. And it's just has a lot of potential for business owners, for brands, and just even those who want to be inspirational, but primarily for those who are in business who want to leverage it for impact and income. It's vital that you are having a presence on YouTube and really starting to build that up, but build it up in a very unique way. So we're not talking about cookie cutter frameworks or anything like that. Of course, there are fundamentals that everyone has to use to get set up and the basics to get started for sure, but you want to be able to find your own unique way. So within this experience, being able to set yourself up for success is that you do have to get some things done. And a lot of times people struggle with consistency as it relates to YouTube and can't seem to navigate the experience effectively. So being able to have this concentrated time, so to speak, will allow you to do that. And so we're going to have Gina to read the article, and it provides other articles within there, and we'll make sure that this particular article is in the description so that you have access to it, so that you can set your own self up for success. But also, if you're interested in doing an on-air workspace session too, that's available as well. All right, so Gina, before you start to read the article, is there anything that you want to preface this experience with, or do you want to go ahead and read and then we start having the conversation? It's up to you.
I think let's go ahead and read and we'll take it from there.
Okay, well, you take it away.
This article is titled Create Your Own Get YouTube Done Now VIP Intensive Weekend or Week. And it involves 8 articles and mini lessons, video playlists to help small channels set up for achieving their maximum success, monetization, and more. Getting YouTube done now. I'm excited to share the knowledge in this article with you because I believe it will serve small YouTube channels at the highest levels for learning how to best maximize their growth, potential, and so much more. Do you find it hard to be consistent with your YouTube channel or just desire to get more out of your channel? Are you an emerging YouTuber with a channel that has less than 500 subscribers, or you're in that space between 1,000 subscribers and struggle to grow or monetize your channel? If you fit into any of these categories, then this article is definitely for you. Accurate preparation and affluent master planning are the key core elements of laying a solid foundation for success with YouTube. This article includes 8 articles to help you become knowledgeable for achieving massive growth in a holistic way for your small channel. Before I invite you to explore these articles, I'd like to share some benefits of creating your own customized Get YouTube Done Now intensive. One of my favorite signature formats for working with others and even taking myself through processes is the VIP intensive styles. I love having blocked out focused time where I can work on specific areas and create massive momentum in my success setups. Because people have different schedules, it's best when they can carve out the right amount of time for themselves to work on the highest priority areas for life, career, and more. With having a YouTube business, I find Get YouTube Done Now VIP intensives to be not only essential, but extremely vital and valuable for success as it relates to consistency, monetization, and more. VIP, very important projects or process intensives, allow us to achieve greater success than if we were just working away at something bit by bit in our everyday affairs. When we work in intensive formats, whether it's a weekend or a week, pretty significant things start to occur. I found it to be very beneficial to create production and pre-scheduling intensives. Within one weekend or a week, I create my base content of short-form videos in batches and pre-schedule them. Then I start on my next level master plan. All of this helps me to stay consistent because I've already done the work required for the channel's steady stream of content flow for a duration of time. This way I can focus on other areas such as working on and/or serving my business more effectively without struggling to produce or post content. Some of you might consider doing a content development and scripting intensive. I'm more into the impromptu videopreneurship, so I don't really do any templates or scripting. However, I do recommend it. I'm more of a master prep planner of having things in a certain order so that I can jump in at any time I feel inspired to shoot a few YouTube shorts, teach a mini masterclass training, or create a Lumen 5 short form video lesson or promo. Formats to consider. Weekend intensive. That's 2 VIP half days of 2.5 to 3 hours with 2 5 to 10 minute breaks, or 2 VIP full days of 5 to 5.5 hours with 2 10 to 15 minute breaks and a 30-minute for lunch. Or a week VIP intensive, 5 mini VIP days of 1 to 1.5 hours with no breaks. 5 VIP half days of 2.5 to 3 hours with 2 5 to 10 minute breaks. 5 VIP full days of 5 to 5.5 hours with 2 10 to 15 minute breaks and 30 minutes for lunch. You can always customize accordingly because these are just examples. Let's set up your experience the right way VIP intensive jumpstart. The first initial VIP intensive that you should set up for yourself is outlined below. You can take a weekend or a week to complete this process and then begin to set yourself up for the real deal. Get YouTube Done Now intensive. So read or listen to the articles and watch the mini lessons and write down notes. Take the time to read and listen to the articles and watch the short form video playlist and recording notes. That will be extremely beneficial. This helps not only your knowledge building, but also your master planning initiative. You'll be clear about the most important areas to focus on first. Plan to paper. Get a planner, notebook, or journal to write down your brainstorms, make a to-do list or lists, notes, and master plan. You can go back and put your plan in an outline format afterwards. There's something about writing things down that creates such a powerful intention of seriousness, commitment, and honorability for the process. Get on calendar. After you've made a plan, it's time to get on calendar and schedule your intensive. Goals and plans without a date rarely come into fruition. Additional preparation. I recommend doing prep work for your meals, breaks, and/or whatever other areas are in need of organization so that you can create the best experience for maximizing your time, productivity, and results. These are the basics of getting started with setting up your Get YouTube Done Now intensives. If you'd like help creating your customized intensive or desire to experience going through your own process with guidance from what stood out for you from the articles and playlists below, I currently have a few slots available for customization style Get YouTube Done Now VIP days, weekends, and weeks intensives. I also offer Get YouTube Done Now VIP days master planning intensives and mini VIP on-air workspace planning sessions, and you can see the information below. So, are you ready to read, listen, and watch? Enjoy, and best wishes towards your success. And then there are a whole range of articles. Create massive momentum and marketing magic with your YouTube shorts and other short form videos for channels with less than 100 subscribers. Or non-linear business growth tips for YouTube channels with less than 200 subscribers. Or focus on figures, not just followers, how to successfully set up your YouTube channels for profits and not just popularity with under 300 subscribers. Then there's revenue recognition, your way on YouTube, the art of creating monetized success customization with less than 400 subscribers. The next article, YouTube revenue your way, creating customized monetized success with less than 500 subscribers. And then 5 things you should know about profitable shifts in your YouTube channels for business. Why you don't actually require subscribers to monetize your YouTube channel. However, it's best to gain several followers for a better social media appeal and presence is yet another article. Faceless videos are becoming a big thing on YouTube, and this isn't new, is another. And YouTube Your Way mini lessons. So done is better than perfect. I hope these articles served you at the highest levels for getting YouTube Done Now experience, and I'd love to hear about your experience with the over process.
Okay, thank you, Gina.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad that you read it instead of me. Yeah, because it gives also those who are listening the opportunity, because if they're doing this on their own, just like how you were, this is your experience. So you had to read through the articles yourself. And so I thought it'd just be good. Yeah. And plus your voice is magnificent.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's perfect for sure. So I'm excited about this, and the simple fact that we even opened up with you reading the article, like I said, I just think it makes it where it's more, because this is a personal experience, you know, for you, personal and professional, so to speak. It just helps them to know this is what they'll be going through, you know, as well. So with having reread in a sense the article, and going through that and kind of laying it out for, you know, for others, do you want to first share about, before we get into what you're actually going to be working on, what you took away, just really the importance of this initiative, or anything that you want to say before we get started with the session?
There are a number of things. I think if people are very new to YouTube, I think there is a sense that you talked about, you know, it's better to actually get on with it rather than waiting for things to be perfect. And I think that I know from my own experience, and I've done lots of YouTube videos,
Right.
that when you start, you're very conscious of the camera and, you know, will it look right? And ultimately, I think it's much more important to be authentic than things to be perfect.
Right.
And so I think that's one thing, is get started. You can always go back and refine things.
Right.
So that's the first thing. I think for me, it is about setting aside designated time, as you talk about, is so important. You know, we all live busy lives, and it's so easy to think, well, I can't do that, I'm too busy. And getting things done up front so that you can, and ideally scheduling them, as you talk about in the article, means that then the excuse that I haven't got time to do these things is actually dissipated. You've
Right.
set aside designated time, you get yourself sorted out. Because it's focused time, you get more done, and then you are able to offer the consistency which makes such a difference. And the consistency, because it's already there and it's already scheduled, means that you haven't got to try and keep pace with something alongside everything else. And that helps the quality because you get practice in a concentrated envelope of time. I think that helps as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was well stated. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, you know, I'm really excited to hear about how this experience was for you going through the articles, and of course you'll tell which ones maybe stood out to you the most that you want to actually have some focus on in terms of uh, what we're going to set up for you to create your own next level, you know, VIP, you know, intensive. So yeah, so I'm excited about that. I also want to say this because you brought up in terms of the getting started, and sometimes when people are concerned about their presence on camera, but also keep in mind those of you who are either new to YouTube or only seeing YouTube one-dimensionally, that YouTube is more than just getting on camera with your video presence. There are a lot of different ways that you can leverage YouTube, even with audio trainings, and you see there are a lot of music channels, and there's just a lot of different varieties of videos and offerings. It just really depends on what your core focus is. I recommend that people use a combination of the videos, and then a software that both Gina and I use, which is Lumen 5. You can use videos like that. And Gina, do you want to talk a little bit about Lumen 5 real quick?
Yeah, it is a really neat bit of software where you can actually, if you are someone who writes blogs or articles, that you can drop in the text of your articles or your blog, and it will create for you a video, anything from 1 to 3 minutes, which is made up of photographs with text taken from your from the text that you have dropped into the text box. And you can alter it. I used to just drop my blogs in. Now I've learned I don't do that anymore. What I do is I highlight the bits that I want in the text, and I create the slides with the text. I found that's quicker.
Yes, yes.
They have a free version, and you can play with it. It adds music. It's very intuitive. I am not highly technical, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. But what I like about it is that you can rework other material that you've already got, or you can create something from new. And something that I took from you, AliNICOLE, for example, is I've now got lumens that are bios of the different things that I do. And that's, again, a way of using it. I just want to pick up from what you said is, you know, one of the things that I took from the articles was having a variety of different styles. You know, your regular speaking to the camera type videos that, you know, that also Lumen's YouTube Shorts using animation. There are so many varieties of style using audio if you're very shy with the camera. I know from your articles that your experience is that your audios actually pick up more more people listening.
Absolutely,
very often. So start where you feel confident, but then get out of your comfort zone, because if you're feeling too comfortable, then you're not growing.
That's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's just, as I mentioned earlier, it's best to use a combination, but of course, whatever is kind of your main thing in terms of where you show up better, your best presentation, that's what you want to leverage. You want to use it, but it's really good to have a combination and to work with those, and especially when you're a smaller channel, being able to build up your presence in multiple ways, because different levels of audience have different levels of connectivity, how they like to connect to content. So you have to be mindful, about that. And in the beginning phases is where you can play around with it. And when I say beginning phases, I'm not just talking about someone who's set up a YouTube channel last month or last week or even 3 months ago or so. This can be people who have had channels for years, but they're still smaller channels, low visibility channels, not really built up into an actual business framework, so to speak, or what I call a YouTubepreneur at that point.
I mean, it certainly is where I am. I've got lots of materials on YouTube.
Yes.
But in terms of followers, and I know from your writing that having vast numbers of followers doesn't necessarily lead to profitability.
No, it doesn't at all. Thank you for bringing that out. Yes, having a lot of subscribers, yes, followers, does not mean that's high level monetization. It looks good for cosmetics, for sure, social media presence, indeed, but it's not necessarily going to lead you to profits. And in one of the articles within the aid, where I talk about figures versus followers, basically focus on figures first, in a sense. And basically that's focusing on having a business framework and understanding that popularity does not necessarily equate to profitability. And sometimes people try to get popular hoping that it will lead to profitability. And sometimes that does happen in the older frameworks and models of YouTube. It kind of happened for a great majority of people, but typically for the mass majority, that's not how it happens. So you want to actually set it up in a business framework first, and then from there, of course, build upon your influential presence in everything. So you want to get out ahead of certain things, and these Get YouTube Done types of intensives that you create for yourself, that you customize for yourself, help you to focus on the areas that are going to be the highest priority for you and most important. But you definitely want to build a solid foundation with thinking from a business mindset first, and then, okay, going out. And even if you aren't posting videos at this point, at least you want to have that foundation to have some type of game plan, and then you can start. But we say, jump in and get started either way, and kind of be doing these things along the way. But to really be most effective, whether you have a channel, like Gina's had a channel for years, but sometimes most do struggle to be consistent with those channels, and YouTube is one of those platforms they favor, consistency and watch time. They pay attention to those things because it's how they decide how they're going to kind of promote your videos themselves, and shoot those out, before the audiences. So those are things that you definitely want to be extremely mindful of. So Gina, with that being said, you read for us the 8 articles in the playlist, that has some little Lumen trainings, in it. You told them what those articles were. So would you like to share which ones maybe stood out to you, or the notes? I know you said you took notes from.
I've got pages of notes.
Okay, well, yes, well, you can jump in and talk, and start sharing from your page, some of your notes and things, and then where you want to go with this session today.
Okay, so first and foremost, if you're listening to this, the richness that comes from reading these articles, I think whether you are newly started or you're like me, that you've been using YouTube for a whole variety of reasons until now, but you want to monetize it and to use it as part of your overall strategy, it really is worth watching them, reading them and watching them. And the articles, you have the opportunity to listen to them. I chose not to. I chose to read them and then read them again. And I think part of that is how your learning preference, and my learning preference was to read it to myself rather than somebody else read it. So I think there are some real standout stuff. I've shared some of those, but let me just so there are many people who think I've got to just stick to my niche. I've got to stick to my core content and that's it. And one of the things that struck me, both in a couple of the articles, but also in one of the videos that we asked us to watch, was around, multiple niches are actually better than just one, and you can service those multiple niches, but also you can use the videos to let people know about you,
right?
Your life, what you're doing, those things that are important to you, and it gives a very different sense of you.
Your personal branding highlights
to know, learn and trust you, and people aren't going to buy from you unless they do that. So that came across very strongly. And as I was doing, I was thinking, well, what were the areas of my life that I could share that would be of value to other people? And when I watched the video about the most popular niches, that also was helpful, because I thought, well, for me, health stood out. I've got a lot to offer in the way of helping people in a variety of ways around health, and that's one of the most popular niches. And leadership for me, and is, as you know, is a very much a core thing. So leadership in a variety of ways, and it was suggesting that you can go into a different niche, but do it from your perspective, and that would be very, very helpful. I love your analogy of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes.
So a free car park, and you can go to level 1 for free. But if you want to go to the upper levels 2 and 3, you have to pay. And you made the distinction between the locals and the tourist. And the locals will come and they like the free stuff. I've got loads of locals.
Yes.
What you want are the tourists who want the full experience and are prepared to invest and pay.
Yes.
And I think as you are preparing what you do, I think part of this is actually having the end goal in sight. That you look at, is this a tourist video, or is this a video that may be a tourist, but it's leading to a local tourist, local video, but leading to a tourist video? What's the purpose? Why are you doing it? Not just and for me, I think it's a rifle approach rather than a scattergun. And so that was really important. Having several playlists and organizing things into playlists. And one of the things that I want to ask you is about organizing things into playlists on your one channel, or creating multiple channels, and what's the difference, and when should you choose to do those two different things?
Okay, well, I have, of course, several YouTube channels, but I recommend focusing at this point just on the one channel, and having several playlists on that channel, especially when the channel is what I call a young channel, so to speak, or one that is still under the 500 subscribers, where you don't have a lot of activity going on the channel just yet. That's when you want to actually build up your playlist, and that can be of a variety of different things. And so I, of course, want to talk somewhat about the profitability aspect for sure, in terms of how that can play out. But you can do this on any channel, but what it does depend on, in a sense, is the style of channel that you are planning to have, in which I do other trainings in terms of different levels of channels that you can set up. But I would say, just for any channel, any niche, focused channel, which I focus more on the multi-niche, multi-mission, multi-interest, multi-level types of channels. Those just serve better. The non-traditional way is the way to go, honestly. But back to using the playlist, that you can leverage these on any type of channels. And it's just best to have a variety, because these also serve as evergreen marketing that you can leverage, things that you don't have to actually go back and create. And also, like if you create some type of tutorials or how to types of videos, those you want to have those in a playlist, because something I'm going to say is that actually those types of videos are not moving forward, are not going to be as popular. But you want to have a good base of those, even if it's 3 to 5, just in a playlist that you can leverage and you can reference to be able to send to people and be able to segment them into different aspects of your personal and professional branding. So I want to say this so that people don't get necessarily confused, even when I talk about having a combo and a variety and serving different niches. It doesn't mean that that has to be the consistent theme of your channel. What it is that you have a variety. Like I set up marketplaces and industry focused types of channels. So with the marketplace, it has a variety of different offerings and opportunities, but I leverage a lot of that within playlist. You can have an overall arching theme for sure for your channel, but within your experience, you do want to have these different levels available, even if it's not what you're talking about from consistently. So an example, so Gina talked about how leadership is her main focus, and of course coaching. She's a speaker and a multi-level author and a multiple #1 best-selling author as well. Add that in. And so, but she also mentioned about health, and she's published a wellness publication, as well, and has different platforms. Now, though those may not be her primary main focuses, so to speak, in the moment, but they are emerging, and she's integrating more of that within her work from a primary perspective. And the reason why I say that is because honestly, most people have been serving different niches and different levels of focuses within a core focus, but what they're not really conscious, they're not really aware that they can pull out that segment and then serve a unique audience with just that core fundamental. And so just how Gina pulled that out and said, okay, well, there's the health, so I can create a health series. So even if she doesn't come back and continuously do health on her channel, or maybe she's doing a once a month or a bi-monthly or weekly feature about something, she doesn't have to make that her consistent focus. But the simple fact that she does have that in her reservoir of offerings and opportunities, it's going to be good, because she can leverage that too to draw in other people to her channel who actually are interested in that, and maybe they need to come to her channel by way of their segue into her channel because she has that health related video or so. Then they end up discovering, wow, she has all these other things, or she's big on leadership or so. So it's just good to have that variety. It just helps to target different levels of audiences. And then if you are too talking, let's say doing your general leadership trainings or just a video or so, and you happen to bring up health and wellness, and even though that may not be the core focus of that video, but then you can say, I have a playlist.
Yes.
You can reference, and so yeah. So there's right away. Sorry.
One of the things that strikes me, and for me, as you know, it's leadership for life, it's leadership in business.
Yes,
it's a great one, because it leading yourself, a lot of that is about taking charge of your health. But it also struck me, that I love gardening, I love to travel. and there's the opportunity to share things that perhaps don't initially you don't think are part of the whole, but they
Right.
are part of me, and so that they enable you as the creator to have a holistic your
Experience.
experience.
And
Yeah,
that's what you want your channel, you know, to provide, is that holistic experience, at least having, you know, these different elements. As you hear me talk a lot about having the essentials. So the essentials are popular topics that are going to be relative to pretty much
yeah,
everyone. And that's going to be wellness, it's going to be lifestyle, spirituality, career, you know, there's a few others, but you mainly want to have something that touches on those. So something I want to go back to you mentioning even about gardening. And so yes, having a gardening series, even if it's 3 to 5 videos where you've done a series on the basics of gardening, or leveraging your publication that talks about the gardening of my soul, and doing a series around that outside in your garden.
yeah,
And yeah, and having that available for others, then any type of cooking or just any other hobby or so that you have, just making videos about those, and not just always focusing so much on, oh, this is my target audience, niche focus, this, you know, you
yeah.
want to have things that can have a general appeal to other people. People are multi-interest beings. So
Yes,
even
yeah,
though this may segue them into something, but they'll stay more in your experience if you have the variety on your channel,
yeah,
right? So,
definitely.
so with that being said, because we want to now look at trying to target where you want to go in terms of setting up your VIP, your intensive, what you plan to get done with YouTube. You know, yeah, I want to get YouTube done. What exactly is it that you want to focus on? And say, I'm going to carve out the time, and which selection of, you know, time slot or so are you looking at, you know, even
The
based.
one area that it strikes me that I haven't used so far, and I think would be very helpful, are YouTube Shorts.
Yes.
And to do, you talk about 90 days. I'd like to do 3 series of 30-day YouTube short
Yes.
programs. I want to do one. I know a lot of people are struggling post-COVID with long-term challenges. It's something that I've got huge expertise in terms of
Right, right.
health challenges, and lots of tips to help people manage their energy, to manage their mindset when they're dealing with health challenges. How to talk to the professionals and get the best out of the professionals, how to keep responsibility. So that's one area that I want to do.
Yeah, and I do recommend 30 days for the YouTube short, doing a series. You know, you can, of
You
course,
talked about
expand
3
it.
lots of 30. So what
Yes, you can expand a 90-day focus for sure. But if some just feel like, oh, I don't even know if I have.
sorry, I'm perhaps I didn't explain myself. My idea is to do three lots of 30,
Oh,
but
yes,
3 completely different themes.
things for 30 days. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So health would be one. Um, uh, the second one would be around I think gardening, and looking at how to use your garden in many different ways. And then the third one, I think, would be around confidence and building
Oh,
confidence.
nice. Oh, that's great. And that's very, all of those are perfect, especially for you. And what I was saying, no, you actually, you explained yourself clearly.
Oh, beg your
What I was coming to not necessarily reiterate was to bring up, for some who 90 days, that may seem like, woo, quite a while, you know, a long duration of time, is that they can choose to also just do a 30-day experience.
Yes.
And maybe one week they're doing a series around this, or just doing several motivational videos, or you know, just different things. So they can choose to do a 30-day window too, and kind of test it out, and then build
Yeah.
themselves, you know, build themselves up, you know, for sure, especially those who are just now really coming to YouTube getting started, I do, of course, recommend doing the 90-day experience with the 30-day, focuses. And within, let me just say this as well. Within the 30-day windows, you don't necessarily, as I pointed out in one of the articles, you don't have to do something every day for 30 days. It's like it's just within that 30-day period, you're planning on releasing a series, with the core focus. And you're not really limited to that either. You can post other videos or so, but just being intentional about using like the shorts, because that's what Gina's, the section she's talking about, is that just because you're doing that doesn't mean you can't do other things on your channel. It's just that's the intention around there, which you were very clear about where you're going. I was just, for others, just giving some other options, and so that they can.
So I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, if we're not going to do one every day, is there an optimum number of videos across the 30 days that you would recommend?
Well, I'm going to definitely say 15 at least. Okay. and the reason for that is because there's the buildup in the momentum. It also depends on how often you plan to post, what your channel is going to be set up for in terms of consistency. So in the particular article that you are referencing, where it's talking about you can create like a 3 to 5 part series. And so even the 3 to 5 part series, is one part of that series coming out one video a week? Is it coming out twice a week? And so you think about that even within a 30-day increment, right? Or 30-day bracket. So let's just say that's 4 weeks. So let's say that you have 3 to 5 videos. So maybe week 1 is kind of the introduction video or introduction short or so to the series, and that's part of it. And you're just outlining and telling what it's going to be about and sharing maybe one tip or so. And then that same week you post number 1, and then the next week you come back and it's number 2, the next is 3, and the next is 4. So within 30 days, even though that's just 5 videos or so, but if you got multiple series going on or different things, you can build it up. I just recommend that you have at least 15 videos within that 30-day bracket that go out. And YouTube Shorts, they are perfect for marketing. They're almost addictive, honestly, to the point that once you get started, and that's the thing, is getting started, the momentum will pick up and you actually start talking about other things. You start doing videos about other things and not just that primary initiative. And that's, I don't want to say the trick in a sense, but but it is a good way to get people started with the focus of doing a series or a couple of videos around a certain topic. And then once they get in the groove, then I want to do one about this too. And next thing you know, you've got your 15 to 30 or somewhat videos. There's really not a limit in terms of how many you can create. YouTube actually favors repetition and everything. I wouldn't overkill it, of course, but yeah.
So my next question is, what's the optimum length of video?
Well, for shorts, it's up to 60 seconds.
So it's got to be less than a minute.
Yes, it has to be less than a minute, right? And so that's what makes it easier too, to get a lot of those done, and to be able to get a lot of those done where you can pre-schedule, which I'm huge on that. When it comes,
and where would you do them on Zoom or something like that and then load them up, or do you do them actually on YouTube?
Well, no, with the shorts you do with your iPhone or with your cell phone or so. And so yeah, so I just record record videos there. And now when we're talking about short form video, so let's make some distinctions here, because you may be also talking about doing YouTube shorts, but also maybe some short form videos. So short form videos, of course, you can do on your computer, on your laptop. So we were talking about Lumen 5 earlier. And Lumen 5, as Gina mentioned, you can do videos that are 1 to 3. I think there's some versions to do actually up to 5 minutes, but they
Okay. I've
recommend.
always kept mine under 3.
Yeah, they recommend that you at least, yeah, the 3-minute mark or so. So if you want to do, those are short form videos, so you can create several of those, and even some based on the shorts that you've created or just other things. So so for you, in terms of where your core focus is, so do you want, you're focusing more on the short form content? Because you mentioned YouTube Shorts, but are you also wanting to integrate Lumen?
My understanding, it was the YouTube Shorts, which are the less than a minute, I think.
Yeah, the less than
Yeah.
a minute. But because you do use Lumen, you definitely can still do short form
Yeah, you could do
videos.
Lumen's less than a minute, couldn't you?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could do those. Yeah, you could definitely do those for sure.
And if you're well prepared, you can get a good bit of information out in a minute, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in order to do the short form, they have to be done on the phone.
To my understanding,
Okay.
but I think that you can create them on your laptop or on your computer, but they just don't show up in the what is it, the vertical way or so. And
Okay, you've got to okay.
yeah, I'm thinking
I'll
that,
experiment.
yeah, thinking that that's the way that they have to. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you know, there are other people who maybe have found other ways to create them.
Yeah. Okay.
My experience is just creating them from the phone, and being able to load them up from there, and then they go onto the YouTube, you know, shorts shelf, so to speak. But they're in your archives, of course, your videos,
Yeah.
you know, in playlist as well. So you want to focus on those, and so you come up with the areas that you want to focus on. So you're thinking at this point that you more so want to actually do, instead of like a 3 to 5 part series, you want to actually talk about those core focuses over that whole 30-day period of time, right?
I think so.
Okay.
But I think what I might do is to do a mixture of YouTube Shorts and short form videos
Yes.
across the theme.
Oh, that would be great. That's kind of what I was picking up from your vibration.
There are some things which perhaps will take a little longer
Yeah.
than a minute for people to get the maximum value out of it. But you can put them on the same playlist, I'm assuming.
Oh, certainly you can if they're around the same core focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so so then let me ask you this question here in terms of any of the formats, the VIP intensive formats. Are you thinking a weekend intensive or a week intensive with some of, you know, what are your thoughts around how?
I'm going to do a weekend intensive. I
Oh,
reckon I could do all 30
okay.
in one weekend. However, I think that before I actually go into production, what I can do is to do the preparation, so I know exactly what the themes are and what's the learning that I want to come across in each video.
Right.
And once those are done, then actually creating the videos is quick.
Right. Yeah. So having the prep, the templates or the treatment sheets or so, if you will, yeah, are going to be phenomenal.
That's the bit I think that takes the time and the planning, because not only do I want it to be of real value, but I want it makes sense to me, at least, and certainly in 2 of the 3 things that I'm talking themes, that there is a natural order of things, and I need to work that out.
Yes. Okay. Great. Oh, I'm excited for you. I love intensives, and you and I have actually worked together in multiple
We've done
intensives.
many.
Yes, we have, you know, and but when you can actually have a focus of this initiative, in a sense, for this agenda, it's even more thrilling because I just like having things done, and being able to move on with other things so that things aren't overwhelming, because so many people, they struggle with overwhelm. And when it comes to YouTube, most look at it as that, oh, it's so much production work or different things. I don't have time to do this. And then that actually kind of distracts them from moving forward with it. And especially if they're not already seeing results from what they're putting out there, then they think that it's just not worth it to keep posting videos. But the thing about it is, you do want to have some consistency, but there are ways that you can do this where it's not going to take up a lot of time. But as I mentioned too, focusing on the business aspect, so that you can ultimately be able to monetize. And that's the thing about even leveraging YouTube Shorts for marketing, is also having them segue into something. So even though you are giving tips, but if there's an offer or an opportunity, you can mention that. Or one of the things that I do when I'm doing certain YouTube Shorts is that when I can go in and add text to it after I've, filmed, of course, add text, look in the comment section below for this, and another thing I want to bring up too is that, let's say that, like the shorts that you're doing, let's say that you have an extended series or you have longer talks around that. So you can also see longer video in the comments, or you can mention that, to check out that playlist, or the other video, and all 5 videos or how many ever can just lead to that one video. There's just a variety of ways. So was there another area that you wanted to focus on getting things done, or is that going to be your primary focus?
I think that's one focus. The other is I've started to create playlists around the themes in my radio show.
Yes.
And so alongside this is also creating playlists around, I think so far I've identified 17 different themes.
Wow.
And creating, I think it's going to be 3 of my own videos, and then incorporating videos from other people. So it's a playlist that really expands the theme.
Okay, awesome. That is great. And so do we want to touch on any of the monetization aspect of that? Or do you want to just focus just on, let me just get this part done, and then we'll come back and talk about more of the monetization? But the monetization, I am going to say this, is really a simple segue of how you use and leverage what I was mentioning earlier, in terms of when you're doing shorts, and not for every single one. You just be intentional about certain ones that you are available to help. And also too, you have, like for you have several publications, so that's great to do YouTube short features around those publications too, because it can be a playlist that you create that is around, yes, your publications, or a series of your publications, and maybe you're featuring a book from that series per video. But you also have training hubs, you also have opportunities, and so those are ways to use those to segue. Something I do want to mention in terms of with monetizing the playlist, which I have, a whole nother expanded training around this, but I do want to say this, is that you can set it up where, let's say that you have a prospect, or you come in contact with someone and they want a taste of your experience, and without you having to give the cow away for free, in a sense, you can give them a taste by, here's a playlist. You can tell them, or if you have their email address or so, here's a playlist that you can watch, and you go through that playlist, and whatever came up for you from those viewings, or or articles that you may provide or so, then you can create something and customize around that. So those are options. An example is just like the article that you read, right?
Yeah.
So that article is, of course, designed to add tremendous value and for people to be able to set themselves up with creating their own experience from just those articles, which are, as you know, they're pretty robust in terms of the value for people to take what they do to the next level. So that's an offering, an opportunity for people who would never even work with me or anyone else, you know, within our alliance, so to speak, or maybe never even buy a product or anything. That's tremendous value for them to set themselves up with. But within there, as you see, I'm also available to provide other levels of services.
And the article did talk about, within that first article, was very clear about that you were available, but I thought was very clever in one of the later articles, and I'll read, I wrote down the wording because I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah.
And it was in this article, I'll be sharing a few concepts from my 2 forthcoming works. There was a master course, Figures to Followers, and a publication, and the fact that they were both going to be released in the fall.
Yeah.
So you very cleverly were referring to things that actually weren't in existence yet, but
they are in existence. They are not released. Yes.
Knowing you, they're always in existence.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just struck me that you know, I've got, you asked about monetization, and certainly in terms of the playlist from the radio and TV show, every one of those will be directed to either a VIP workshop, a mastermind, or whatever. But even with the shorts, as you say, I've got the publications, I've got in a box off the shelf.
Yes,
product
VIP
on Gumroad.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's the opportunity, particularly using Linktree, of being able to put a very simple link that people can go and find a whole wealth of resources.
Absolutely.
Or you can direct them to something very specific.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you see, I love using the Linktree within the articles and, you know, and everything, because it does just give people that, you know, variety or range, but it's very categorized. But even when just leveraging one, you know, particular offer opportunity, it is very targeted for sure, very intentional. I just love just how this whole experience just opens up to provide a really unique encounter for individuals, and being able to take what they do to, you know, to the next level, but at the same time doing it in a very unique way that's going to be what's most aligned for them, because there's a lot of cookie cutter frameworks out there. Do it this way, do it that way. And what I teach in one of my other extended trainings is around discovering, and maybe you read some about that, your own unique YouTube DNA, you know, the anatomy of your experience and what that will be about. And so, yes, people do have to follow some core fundamentals for sure. And there are some better things that strategies that do work best, or I should say they're more effective and efficient for sure. And again, leveraging the YouTube shorts, those are perfect for marketing. I have to bring this up, and you can leverage this as well. And I do have demonstrations even of this, is where, as I mentioned before, some YouTube shorts can lead into bigger trainings, more extended trainings. And I have several of those where I've actually made a short from the actual training itself, but then I've also created one where I'm talking about the training and telling them to, you know, it's in the comments or in, so there's just, like I said, a variety of things that you can do, but it doesn't take a lot of time to make the shorts. And again, they're very, very effective.
Yeah, it's great. I can't wait to get started.
Yay, I'm excited. I am. So okay, so you're going to do a weekend.
Yes.
And blocking out that time, are you thinking about doing 2 half days or 2 full days? What does that look like for you, just initially at this point?
I think the planning, bearing in mind I know the way I work best, is that I will create the framework in terms of what are the things I want to cover. And
Yeah.
I reckon that's to do 30, that's probably going to take me about 2.5 hours. And so I think that I'm going to have a weekend. I'm going to do that on day 1.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm going to perhaps just experiment, because I haven't done the shorts before.
Right.
I'm going to play with, and if just play with getting it to feel right on that day.
Right.
And then on the second day, I'll go into full production, and my plan will be to create all of them in that
Wow.
following day. And depending on, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but
Right.
because we're talking about less than a minute,
Yeah.
it's about getting in the right mindset and the right intention. I think that will take the time, and not the actual video creation, if that makes sense.
Right. No. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Now, if they're done quickly enough, then I will get the scheduling done. If not, then I'll have a third session, which doesn't have to necessarily be all done together, but during that following week, I will get those all scheduled.
Perfect. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, I'm excited for you. I am really excited. We'll definitely have to do a follow-up on after you go through your process. Well, that sounds amazing. Yeah, definitely.
So watch this space.
What'd you say?
Watch this space.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. I'm really thrilled, about this. And so you've got some prep to do here, right?
I have indeed. But you know me, that once I know what I'm doing,
Yeah, then you're
I
off to the
can
races,
crack
right?
on and get it done. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so this is exciting. And so for those of you who have been listening to this conversational workspace, session for getting YouTube done now, I hope that it has been impactful, for you, inspiring, a lot of value, and especially with Gina um, going through her own process and deciding here's what she's going to do. And I think she's come up with a phenomenal plan of action. So Gina, anything else that you want to share about, excited about getting started, or anything else you want to impart to those who have been
I think,
benefit of listening to what you're planning?
first of all, thank you, because the whole process has been really, really helpful for me. But I think if you're listening, there are a couple of things that I would say to you. When other people are talking about their stuff, it can be very easy to feel intimidated by that. But you've got to remember that everybody's starting from the place where they are.
Right.
The important thing is to get started.
Yeah.
And if this is something that either the process of YouTube or doing things in this way is unfamiliar to you, then reach out and get some help. You don't have to do it on your own, although you've been given the tools to do it on your own.
Yes.
But if you want some support, then there is support available. And I would say to you, it's a really good investment. Ultimately, get on with it, because the sooner you get on with it, the sooner you will move things forward. And if you can break it down into manageable chunks, you'll be amazed at how much you can achieve.
Absolutely. Well stated. Thank you so much, Tina. And of course, we want to give a plug, a shout out for your YouTube channel, because others may be interested in following your channel, but also following your process, right?
That
So
would be great.
you like to share your channel?
My channel is Genuinely You with Gina Gardiner. So Genuinely You with Gina Gardiner, Gina and Gardiner. I'd love to see you there. Please do comment and let us know that you have come as a result of this training. That would be wonderful.
Yes. Oh, definitely. And also share any website that you would like to have them explore, to come to know, get to know more about you.
There are a number of websites. Gina Gardiner associates.co.uk. That's one of my training hubs. Genuinely-u.com. There's all sorts of resources on there. But actually, if you go to Linktree and Gina Gardiner on Linktree, you'll find so many links there. And I'll make sure that those are also on the Genuinely You. They are on already on several of the videos, but I'll make sure it's there on the Genuinely You Gina Gardiner YouTube site, and you can find it from there.
Awesome. Great. Because that way they'll be able to connect with you on social
Absolutely.
media, variety of different platforms and everything. All right. So thank you so much, Gina. I do want to hear from you what stood out to you the most, from this particular session, or what was a highlight, for you, and your thoughts before we get ready to close.
I think having read the articles and watched the videos, which I've done over the last few days, and then being able, there's something really powerful about having the opportunity to explore that externally with someone asking the questions and holding the space. There's something that moves the thinking and the energy in a very different way to just, reading the articles and listening to the videos is incredibly powerful. It's turbocharged when there's the opportunity to explore it. And so I would say to people who are listening, give yourself that opportunity, because it will make a difference.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wow, that is amazing. I love that turbocharge. Yes, that is tremendous. That is the power, as as a coach.
Absolutely.
You know the power of mentorship and guidance from an individual, and the power of that versus the self-study, which is powerful too, that being able to do things through programs that are digital, or publications, or even reading articles and creating your own unique structure. But that turbocharged energy, I co-sign. Yes, like you said, when you can actually work with someone around that, strategize, and then maybe do some consistency, which I will be doing with Gina. We will be, we just master planned for this initiative here, but there will be the continuation of the expansion. So yeah, it is very powerful. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for sharing your experience and your planning here, so that others can benefit.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. And, thank you for joining us. Do come and visit what I've actually put on YouTube. Give us a little bit of time and it'll all be there.
Absolutely. And so we're going to close this session out here, but there will be information within the description. And of course, you can learn about Gina. Everything we talked about, that will be below in the description. And also the article with the other 8 articles in there will be within the description as well. We certainly want to hear from you how this has benefited you and what you're planning to do. And I'll be back with more Workspace sessions. And of course, Gina will be returning as her process, continues. But wishing you the absolute best, and just hoping that your YouTube experience will expand far beyond what you can imagine. And the greatest benefit is that not only your channel will grow, you're going to grow. And that is what is most important. You're going to evolve into something far greater than you could have imagined just by embarking on this endeavor, for sure. All right, so we'll be back with you soon. Take care.